Good afternoon and welcome to the Daily News Analysis by Civil Service Institute, Pala. Let's look at the top stories of the day. India-UK Inc. Trade Pact. 11 killed in clashes between Thailand and Cambodian forces. Meghalaya High Court seeks response on challenge to Matrilineal Kasi Lineage Act. 24-year survey revealed that coral cover in Lakshadweep saw a 50% reduction. At United Nations Security Council, India says Gaza ceasefire a must, reaffirms support to Palestine. Unpacking National Sports Governance Bill tabled in Lok Sabha. And International Court of Justice's climate ruling. News in detail. Let's start with the first article. India-UK Inc. Trade Pact expand cooperation. India and United Kingdom has concluded an historic trade agreement. India and United Kingdom signed a comprehensive economic trade agreement during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the UK. The deal was signed by Indian Commerce Minister 𝗑𝗲𝗄𝗎 Goyal and British counterpart Jonathan Reynolds. And what are the economic benefits? The pact is expected to benefit Indian farmers, the MSME sector, and exporters of Indian footwear, jewelry, seafood, and engineering goods. British medical devices and aerospace parts will face lower Indian tariffs, making them more accessible in India. Both sides highlighted the mutual economic advantages to their respective domestic audiences. From the UK perspective, the British Trade Minister described the deal as the UK's biggest since Brexit and the best deal India has offered to any nation. The agreement will enable easier access for Indian food and drinks, including whiskey, to the British market. The Extended Cooperation Vision 2035. India and UK released a Vision 2035 framework, replacing the previous Roadmap 2030. The Vision 2035 emphasizes growth and jobs, technology, including security initiative, regular government interaction, multilateral collaboration, and global security. Both nations also agreed to Reciprocal Double Contributions Convention, DCC, ensuring cross-border employees and employers pay social security in only one country at a time. India and the UK committed to multilateralism and renewed focus on regional and global issues, especially at international organizations like United Nations, World Health Organization, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and Commonwealth. With regard to security and standards, both leaders reaffirmed cooperation in the fight against terrorism and partnership for double standards in global norms. Industry and implementation. Several industry bodies welcomed the new trade pact. Implementation of Vision 2035 will be coordinated at the foreign minister level. Additional insights about the trade pact include the deal comes amid UK's increasing focus on strengthening global ties post-Brexit. The agreement includes provisions for regular reviews and future enhancements to trade relations. These developments mark a significant step forward in India-UK economic, strategic, and multilateral engagement. Moving on to the next article. 11 killed in clashes between Thai and Cambodian forces. Thai and Cambodian soldiers clashed along their border, resulting in at least 11 deaths, mostly civilians. The fighting was intense, involving small arms, artillery, and rockets, with Thailand conducting airstrikes. The conflict escalated following an explosion on the border that wounded several Thai soldiers. Thailand responded by withdrawing its ambassador from Cambodia and expelling the Cambodian ambassador. Tensions relate to a long-standing boundary dispute, periodically flaring border dispute between the two countries, especially near the 𝗬𝗏𝗏 temple and 𝗓𝗏 region. Both sides accused each other of escalating the conflict, Thailand via airstrikes and Cambodia alleging Thai jets bombed near key temples. So the boundaries becomes important, and please mark the neighboring countries of Thailand and Cambodia in your atlas. Here you can see Thailand is bordered by Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, and Malaysia to the south, while Cambodia is bordered by Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. So please do take note of these countries. Both countries downgraded diplomatic relations, withdrew ambassadors, and Thailand sealed its land border crossings, urging citizens to leave Cambodia. Landmines issue. Thai authorities said newly laid landmines wounded soldiers and claimed these were not of Thai origin. Cambodia called these accusations baseless, pointing out many mines are remnants from past wars. Casualties. Cambodia reported 11 deaths, including 1 soldier and 10 civilians, with many others injured, including soldiers and civilians. Now, appeal to United Nations. Cambodia's Prime Minister wrote to the UN Security Council seeking intervention to stop what was described as Thai aggression. So, recurrently, countries purging into conflict is not good for the world altogether. And from the economic perspective also, it's not good for the global market scenario. Meghalaya High Court seeks response on challenge to Matrilineal 𝗂𝗓𝗓 Lineage Act. So the Meghalaya High Court has asked the state government to respond to a petition challenging the Khasi Hills Autonomous District, Khasi Social Custom of Lineage Act 1997. This law restricts the issuance of scheduled tribe certificates to Khasi individuals who take their father's or husband's surname, aiming to preserve the Khasi community's matrilineal tradition. A public interest litigation filed by a group advocating reforms and a move towards a patrilineal system questions the legality of these restrictions. The group argues that denying scheduled tribe certificates based on surname choice is unfair if the person otherwise meets the bloodline and lineage criteria. As you all know, the 𝗗𝗏, Khasi, and Jaintia hills are a range of hills located in the Indian state of Meghalaya. They are part of the Meghalaya Plateau and are known for the unique topography, rich biodiversity, and distinct tribal cultures. And they are matrilineal tribes. The hills are named after the 𝗗𝗏, Khasi, Jaintia tribes who inhabit the region. Here you can see the political map locating 𝗗𝗏, Khasi, and Jaintia hills in Meghalaya. So please do take note of these and do mark them in your Indian Atlas map. The state's Social Welfare Department had earlier clarified that the Lineage Act does not prevent surname adoption from either parent or restrict non-Khasi women from adopting their husband's surname. However, after official instructions in 2020, later withdrawn, many authorities allegedly denied scheduled tribe certificates to those using their father's or husband's surname. The court stated that affidavits are not required at this stage, but emphasized resolving the issue quickly in the community's interest. 24-year survey reveals that coral cover in Lakshadweep saw a 50% reduction. Corals in the Lakshadweep archipelago have decreased by about 50% over a 24-year period, that is from 1998 to 2022. So what were the implications of this long-term study? The findings are based on one of the longest running coral reef monitoring programs in the Indian Ocean, covering multiple El Nino events from 1998 to 2022. The major concern was the role of marine heat waves. Repeated marine heat waves intensified by climate change are the main reasons for coral loss. And the loss was added by other local factors like local conditions such as wave exposure, water depth also play crucial roles in how reefs respond to and recover from such events. Now, reduced recovery rate. Coral recovery rates have dropped drastically, especially after successive bleaching events, causing the decline in coral cover to worsen over time. The program tracked 3 atolls, Agatti, 𝗏𝗏𝗏, and Kavaratti, and used long-term data to help predict and identify vulnerable reefs. And the ongoing threat include recovery rates increased only after several bleaching-free years, highlighting the need for longer intervals between damaging events for corals to recover. In summary, Lakshadweep's coral reefs have halved in cover since 1998, mainly due to repeated marine heat waves linked to climate change, with recovery increasingly becoming difficult after frequent bleaching events. At United Nations Security Council, India says Gaza ceasefire a must, reaffirms support to Palestine. At the United Nations Security Council, India reaffirmed its unwavering support for the Palestinian cause, as stated by India's permanent representative to the UN. India voiced concerns about the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza, referencing severe shortages of food, fuel, medical supplies, and lack of education for over 6.5 lakh children who have missed school for more than 20 months. India argued that intermittent pauses in hostilities are not enough to address the large-scale humanitarian challenges in Gaza. Our country also highlighted that dialogue and diplomacy are the only viable paths to achieve both a ceasefire and the release of hostages. India also asserted that there are no other fixes or solutions beyond ceasefire, hostage release, and renewed negotiations. Unlike its previous abstention in a UN General Assembly vote, India's comments at the United Nations Security Council reflected a stronger call for ceasefire and humanitarian relief in Gaza. India reiterated that the two-state solution remains the only pathway to enduring peace between Israel and Palestine. India reaffirmed its historic support for Palestinian rights and reiterated its call for peace and an end to hostilities. Moving on to the next news. This is from the Indian Express's Explained section, Unpacking National Sports Governance Bill tabled in Lok Sabha. The National Sports Governance Bill introduced in Lok Sabha aims to overhaul the governance of sports in India by creating a comprehensive regulatory framework. What are the key proposals of the bill? Formation of a National Sports Board to oversee governance, demarcating policy from daily administration currently handled by bodies like the BCCI. And it also mentions for the establishment of a National Sports Tribunal to resolve sports disputes in a more specialized and timely manner than regular courts. What was the need for the bill? India has lacked a robust, unified sports regulatory body, and the bill intends to fill this gap, similar to how SEBI regulates the securities market. And the most important point is about the conflict resolution. The Sports Tribunal is designed to be independent and free from conflicts of interest. However, the selection of members and actual independence remains a matter of concern. Judicial involvement in sports. The bill responds to judicial reluctance for direct interference in sports and aims to streamline dispute resolution through a specialized system. The bill also seeks to ensure and increase transparency and accountability in how sports are governed in our country with public scrutiny of the National Sports Board's powers and decisions. Terms and limits for administrators. The bill sets the age limit for sports administrators to 75 and restricts tenures to 3 terms, addressing concerns about long-standing control by a few individuals. Impact on big bodies like the BCCI. The bill proposes that all sports organizations, including the BCCI, fall under its purview and adhere to constitutionally mandated term and age limits. The bill also protects athletes' rights. There are provisions related to safeguarding athletes' rights, although details of implementation and real-world impact will depend on further rules. Now, there are certain concerns raised. They are risk of bureaucratization and lack of true independence in new bodies, followed by effectiveness. This will hinge on who is appointed to key positions and how powers are exercised in practice. Now, overall, this article discusses the goals, key mechanisms, and potential challenges of the draft National Sports Governance Bill, which seeks to professionalize sports administration in India, introduce independent dispute resolution mechanism, increase transparency and accountability while cautioning against possible bureaucratic pitfalls, and the need for genuinely independent members in governing bodies. Moving on to the last article for the day, International Court of Justice's climate ruling. This is also from the Indian Express's Explained section. The ICJ issued a landmark ruling stating that countries have a legal obligation under international law to take steps to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The ruling came in response to a request from the UN General Assembly. The court clarified that climate action is not just a political imperative, but a legal one binding under international law. This strengthens the global case for climate action, and may empower developing countries and activists to seek greater accountability. The opinion is advisory and not binding, but is expected to influence international climate discussions, future court cases, and global climate policy. The ICJ ruling could open the door for litigation against countries that fail to meet their climate responsibilities, especially by nations most affected by climate change. The ICJ also said countries are obligated to take steps that contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions, including through international treaties like the UNFCCC, Paris Agreement, etc. The court also noted that countries harmed by climate impacts, that is, injured states, could be entitled to compensation if others do not fulfill their obligations. Particular emphasis was put on the responsibilities of developed countries, especially those that have disproportionately contributed to greenhouse gas emissions. The International Court of Justice did not spell out what the specific consequences for non-compliance are, but noted that failure to act could result in demands for reparations and lawsuits. The ruling calls attention to the lack of tangible consequences for countries that withdraw from or do not meet Paris Agreement commitments. The ruling is likely to push countries towards stronger climate action, shape future international negotiations, and potentially inspire similar legal actions before other international courts. So, in conclusion, the ICJ's ruling is a significant step for global climate action, declaring states are legally bound to reduce emissions. While not immediately enforceable, it raises the pressure on countries, especially developed ones, to comply with climate goals and opens the door to possible compensation claims for states harmed by climate change. With this, we come to an end of the session. Thank you. Have a nice day.